Has episode 6 been the best episode yet? Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, Rochelle here, and I'm back to share some yarn goodness with y'all today. Okay, so it was statement week, and we are down to the final 5. All right, so let's talk about this episode's individual challenge. The contestants had to make statement jewelry. They needed to create 2 pieces, including a necklace and a cuff, or a necklace and a bracelet. And they had 10 hours to complete this challenge. So let's talk about our first contestant, and that is Lydia. So Lydia created an intricate beaded necklace inspired by the necklaces that are worn in West Africa. And I love how she always brings her home and her heritage into her makes. Okay, she used mosaic crochet to produce a stiff fabric to give structure to her choker. And then for the lacy part of her necklace, she used freeform crochet. It was beautiful. And then she had a matching cuff that used mosaic crochet as well. And the whole set was threaded with beads, tiny intricate beadwork, and it was amazing. I thought she did a fantastic job. She chose mercerized cotton as her yarn, and I really like how she steamed blocked her necklace. It was so nice to see someone steam block something in this challenge. So that was really good, and her piece was stunning. The judges loved it. In fact, one of the judges took the cuff and put it on her hand because she loved it that much. Okay, so up next we have Holger. So he made his own yarn using a trash bag, y'all. A trash bag. I don't know if you all have ever heard of the word plarn. It's basically when you cut up strips of plastic bags and you make yarn with it. It's a really good way to recycle and reuse plastic bags. So let me know if you've heard of that or if you've ever done that technique before. But the reason why he wanted to use a trash bag is to give it more shimmer, to give his jewelry more shimmer. And it really worked. He knitted the collar and the cuff. And for his necklace, he used strips to look like the black gemstone jet that was used during Victorian periods of mourning. So in the Victorian times when people were mourning the death of someone, this is a necklace that they wore. Now, the judges, I did not agree on their assessment of Holger's cuff because the cuff had black, it was all black, and then the necklace had like a strip of white lace around it. And they thought that he should have used white in the cuff as well. But the thing is, I understood where he was coming from because it is a necklace of mourning. So this is something that would have been worn to most likely a funeral. So I understood why he decided to use the black. So I don't know. I wasn't there, but I was just like, okay, judges. I had to go with Holger on this one. Okay, next up we have Simon. So Simon used wire to create his pieces. For his necklace, he created a heart on the back, and then on the front, he did this amazing sculpted piece of the love hormone oxytocin, and I just thought that was beautiful. He knitted a matching wire cuff with a heart on it as well, and he made his set using Viking knitting. I had never heard of Viking knitting before. Let me know if you had. So it was really nice to learn about that. And he said that he made this necklace for his wife for putting up with him all these years. And he said that it was love at first sight with his wife. So I just thought that was so romantic. The judges, they didn't really have that same appreciation for his jewelry that I did. They really didn't like how there were little rough metal edges sticking out of the necklace. And Simon says that he's rough around the edges. So that's why his necklace was a little rough around the edges. So I thought that was a good comeback for that. But they didn't really appreciate that. And another thing that the judges didn't get, which I didn't agree on, was they said that the heart on the back of the jewelry and the piece in the front did not go together. And I was a little bit confused by that because the heart on the back and the piece in the front, so the piece in the front was the love hormone. So he knitted a heart on the back to go with the love hormone. I thought that went together wonderfully. I don't know. Maybe the judges just didn't get the concept. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. All right, so up next we have Ailsa. So Ailsa was inspired by the landscape of Scotland in the Highlands. And so I love how she uses her love of her home in Scotland in a lot of her pieces. She made a thistle flower inspired necklace using I-cords. So it was really nice to see someone use I-cords in the competition. Her matching bracelet was knitted using the same colors, purple for the thistle and green for the landscape. So I thought that was really nice. And she used mercerized cotton. And also she did add a little wire circle on her bracelet. Now the judges, they wished that she had also put the wire on her necklace as well. And so that was a critique that they gave her, just to make the necklace and the bracelet look better together if she had used wire on both of them. But you know, the judges necessarily didn't like that, but I thought it was a beautiful piece. I feel like it would have been really nice with the wire on the necklace or without the wire on the necklace. So I thought it could go either way. Next up, we have Isaac. So Isaac admitted that he really struggled with this challenge. He really struggled to come up with a design concept for this challenge. He had never done anything like this before. And so he decided to do a daisy chain. He freeform crocheted his daisy chain necklace, and then he had a larger daisy with little small petals of the daisy coming down. And his matching daisy chain bracelet had the same design. So he did use classic cotton yarn. And the judges, they didn't feel like his jewelry made enough of an impact. And, you know, I have to agree with the judges on this a little bit. But hey, I don't know if I could have made it. So kudos to him for at least trying it. And especially with this being his first time creating jewelry. Okay, let's talk about the team challenge. All right, so for this week's challenge, the contestants had to create a statement lighting piece, and it was an installation using linen yarn. So they had to use a vintage lace pattern, and each contestant had to create one panel using the same pattern. So it'll have a total of 5 panels on the lampshade. And so then they had to attach it to the lampshade to make it one cohesive piece. And so basically this competition was to help or test the contestants on their levels of reading vintage patterns, reading lace patterns, reading charts. And so I thought that was a really good test of their skills. Now, this pattern, they had to knit 80 rows. They had to knit 80 rows of lace with 66 stitches on each row. Whoa, that is crazy. But they did it, and the pattern had 2 pineapple motifs, and then it had a center column, and there were over 5,000 stitches used combined on this lampshade. And the contestants had a choice between using straight needles and circular needles. So let's get into the teams. All right, so Elsa, she used lifelines. Thank goodness. Lifelines are amazing. Basically, you take a tapestry needle and you insert a strand of yarn into your row of stitches. And so if you make a mistake, you can rip back to where the lifeline is. I definitely use lifelines when making this cardigan, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But lifelines are amazing because you can rip back to the place where you put a lifeline, and that way you don't have to frog your whole project. Now, the judges did see a few mistakes in Ailsa's panel. There were some mistakes at the top, and there were some mistakes down in the column. So they did notice that. Up next, we have Lydia. Now, Lydia, she really struggled this week, and I felt really bad for her. Not only was she dropping stitches, but she also missed her children. And so I know that had to have been very difficult for her. But also, in addition to dropping stitches, she had a hard time with the circular cable. The join was catching the yarn, and she had a really difficult time with that. I wish that there could have been some other knitting needles that she could have used. I don't know what was in the haberdashery, but yeah, she really struggled with that, and she did have a bit of a cry. And so, it was really tough for her. Now, while she was away, Simon went over to her project and he counted her stitches, and he realized that she had 65 stitches instead of 66. And so he told her, say, hey, just add a yarn over and make your stitch count right again. And she did that. And her stitch count was right. She really didn't have a whole lot of mistakes, but she did have a mistake during the on the center panel. The judges did notice that, but for someone that had went through all that she had went through emotionally, I thought she did a really, really good job. Next up, we have Holger. So Holger was the only knitter to use straight knitting needles. Let me know, if you were going to do lace, are you going to use straight needles or are you going to use circular needles? I would love to know. I've done a little bit of lace, lace knitting, but not to the extent of what they were doing. But yeah, so he used lifelines, and the judges did see a mistake in his center panel, but even Holger admitted that he had missed some stitches, and he was just adding yarn overs to get his stitch count back up. So he wasn't surprised by the judges' feedback because he knew he had made some mistakes. Up next, we have Simon. So Simon had never knit lace before. However, he said that if a pattern or a chart is clear and direct, he can follow it, and he did it. In fact, he was the first one to finish his panel. So that was amazing for someone that had never done lace knitting before. And he actually received the best critique from the judges. His mistakes were so few that they really didn't even say he had any mistakes. So I thought that was really nice. But yeah, he really did a great job. So let's talk about how they placed. In 5th place went to Simon. In 4th place went to Lydia. In 3rd place went to Ailsa. In 2nd place was Holger. And in 1st place was Isaac. So that was really good. However, we have to talk about the winner overall, who became the big knitter, and that was Lydia, and she got her sheep's badge. Unfortunately, the person that was cast off this week was Simon. So I thought he did a fantastic job. He had a limited knowledge in crochet, yet he persevered and he did it. And so I thought that Simon went really far in the competition. Okay, so let's talk about a few of my thoughts that I had about the show. So one thing that I didn't like how it was portrayed that the reason why Simon suffered is because he helped Lydia. I didn't agree with that because, for one, he should have used lifelines. And 2, it was his decision to put his work down and go and help her. So it may have had something to do with him not finishing, but blaming his downfall completely because he went and helped Lydia, I don't know. I really just didn't feel like that was fair. And I feel like he has some blame on, not finishing as well. I just feel like with the editing, it was like they were trying to make it seem like, oh, Simon, being the hero, and he went and helped Lydia and he sacrificed his work. That's kind of how it seemed. Let me know what you think. Okay. Also, I was very happy to see some techniques being used, such as blocking, reading charts, and using lifelines. I loved it. And also, I learned about Viking knitting. So that was a new skill. I never had heard of that before. Also, I really liked the group challenge. I think it really showed the contestant skills levels, and I would love to see more challenges like this, more challenges like that lamp challenge. And I really liked the look of the finished lampshade. I just thought it was beautiful with the lights and it was revolving around, and I just thought it was stunning. And I also like how the judges used a projector to check the lace panels. That way they could really see what they were looking at. And in my opinion, this has been the best episode so far. It was technical. It was amazing how they used skills, new skills. And let me know what you think. Do you think this has been the best episode so far? Let me know. Also, this one was more of kind of like a little bit of a pet peeve, but I wish that Tom would have not talked to the contestants while they were working on their lace panels. Lace panels is a very delicate, intricate design, and it's kind of like when someone is talking to you while you're trying to count stitches, and so you just start counting louder. And I thought it would have been really funny if one of the contestants had started counting louder when Tom would ask them a question. But I understand Tom's the host, and he was just doing his job. But yeah, that was just something that I know would have bugged me if I was, especially like, what if I hadn't put my lifeline in yet? Or what if I hadn't gotten to an end of a row? But yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny. I was like, Tom, stop talking. But anyway, yeah, that would have definitely knocked me off my game. Also, I love Holger's facial expressions. I think that especially like when he's listening to the judges, like when they're talking about a challenge, when they're introducing a challenge. I love Holger's facial expression, and I think that him and Lydia are both very expressive with their faces, and I love that. Their body language is very expressive, and I know for myself, my face tells on me. My face lets you know what I'm thinking, even when I don't want you to, and I'm trying to be quiet, but my face has a different agenda. That is me. Are you like that? I would love to know. So I really like Holger and Lydia. They have, they're very expressive, and you can definitely tell what they're thinking. Okay, so each week Tom sits down with the person that was cast off. And of course, this week it was Simon. So Simon said that this was his first time doing lace, and I thought he did an amazing job. Since the show, he said he has knitted a sweater for his nephew, and he used steeking. So of course, I think that Gordon, which was a former contestant, I think he would have really enjoyed Simon's steeking. Also, Simon said that he was most proud of his fryer challenge. That was when he made like the plate of mushrooms and tomatoes and sausage and bacon. He said that was the one that he was most proud of. And also, Tom talked about how he and Holger had a bit of a bromance, and I really do think they did. And you can tell that they're friends in real life outside of the competition. Simon also said that he liked how diverse the cast was. He really liked that, and I have to agree with him. It was a very, very diverse cast. So yeah, definitely agree with him on that. A lot of different people from different backgrounds, and I think that makes the show very interesting. Also, Tom asked him about his crochet skills. As we know, Simon's crochet skills were not the best, and he knew that. But he told Tom that he learned how to make a granny square 1 month before the show started. Can you imagine? So I thought with that limited crochet, he did a really fantastic job. So he also talked about some of his current projects. He is crocheting a project for someone, so that's really nice. Tom asked him, what type of advice do you have for people? And he said, don't pigeonhole yourself. He said when it came to himself, he pigeonholed himself between color work and cables. Those were his things. Those were the things he liked to do. But now he says he is open to learning lace and open to learning more about crochet. And I thought that was really good advice. I think sometimes as crafters, we kind of pigeonhole ourselves into one craft. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you're a knitter, learn how to crochet. If you're a crocheter, learn how to knit or some other form of fiber art. I think that would really broaden your horizons as a crafter. And so I really think that that was some really good advice that Simon gave. Just thinking outside of the box and just trying both knitting and crochet. All right, so let's talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing the Wave of Change jacket designed by Denise Baron. I did an entire video on this cardigan, and I'm going to leave my Ravelry page below as a link, and it has my video link in that page. So definitely check it out. I'm really enjoying wearing this. It's quite cold today, so this is perfect to wear. Also, check out my episode reviews for episodes 1 through 5. So you can definitely go back and look at that. Also, I will leave a playlist on the screen at the end of the video. All right, let me know what you worked on while watching, or did you just chill? Definitely leave me a comment. I love reading you all's comments, and feel free to click that like button and that notification bell so you know when I post. And also, subscribe if you liked today's video. I am trying to reach 12,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate your help with that. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. Share with a friend. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, bye.